Hey everyone, my name's Brandon,
My name's Ethan.
and welcome to the Spike Casuals podcast.
Today we're going to be talking about some of the myths about EDH and CDH. One of the biggest ones that I always hear is that you need an astronomical budget to be able to get into the format. To be completely honest, that's not true.
Not at all. You would call like a high power commander deck, being fully tuned, that'd be what, like $500, probably somewhere around there?
Five to six for like a fully tuned high power, but not CDH.
Yep. And, with $500, you can get it on the ground floor of CDH really easily.
So many staples.
Yep.
So many staples can be purchased. You can get, honestly, if you just don't want to build a deck for $500, you could get a majority of the Fed plans in several colors.
Yep.
As well as most of your basic mana rocks that isn't like a mana crypt. Honestly, or you could just get your mana crypt in some of those, like Force of Will.
Yep. Mana crypt is always like the first recommendation that I make for people.
What we're going to do today is that we are going to talk about a deck with a beloved playstyle, Mill. Everyone loves Mill, especially when they start the game. Some people hate Mill because they've lost to it, and it's known for not being an actually like efficient competitive strategy.
Right.
Outside of some very niche circumstances, Modern has fun with like Hedron, Crab, and fetch lands.
Yep.
But we're going to show you
just
how
made it better.
Drown in the Lock is amazing and will be brought up today.
Yep.
We're going to talk about Ambassador Loquacious.
Yep.
He is a very interesting commander. He is a double blue, 1 generic mana in his cost, 3 mana total. He is a Merfolk Wizard, 2 relevant creature types, not for this deck, but you can't ignore that they're relevant.
Right.
And he has the activated ability of 3 generic mana is all it takes to pay. Target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard.
Okay, so what are we doing with this?
What we're doing with this card and the way it's going to work is that you would think that you're going to mill out your opponent, which is what most people think mill is in Commander, using cards like Phenac, who is pretty awful, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
We're going to mill ourselves and do the best impression of Mono Blue Thassa's Oracle without consultation. Instead of milling our entire deck with consultation by declaring like Borborygmos, we're going to just use infinite mana to mill ourselves out and just cast our Oracle.
Yep.
Or a Lab Man.
Yep. And the idea of what we're doing here today is we're going to give you a price bracket of about $500, and we're going to give you an Ambassador Loquacious list, and then we're going to show you how to step that into something a little bit better.
Who will be mentioned later in the video.
Soon.
But for now, let me go ahead and also lay out some things about getting into Commander. When it comes to things such as what makes a Commander playable, Ambassador has a very specific thing about himself that a lot of people don't think about. And that is just simply the fact that he has an infinite mana sink in the command zone.
Yep.
Why that is so important is, just out of curiosity, we went ahead and ran some numbers. We used the super popular EDH tier list
Run by the Lab Maniacs.
Ironically, a card that'll be brought up a lot in this.
Yes.
If you look at the top 8 tier 0 quote-unquote commanders that are so iconic, 3 of the 8 are infinite mana sinks. That's how they're winning.
Yep.
And some of the cards that are in there, like Timna and Crom,
Yep.
are being run with an infinite mana sink.
with the mana sinks.
So if you actually look at the top 8, other than Zur and Kess, pretty much every single tier 0 commander deck is based on infinite mana sink in the command zone.
Right, like there's no first sliver, obviously, but you have your Kenriths, you have your Nagilas. Like, all of these are going to be infinite sinks in the zone.
I mean, First Sliver's pretty much also stacking himself food chain, infinite mana.
Pretty much.
But he's the only one that doesn't utilize the command zone infinite mana, which is kind of funny because he still is powerful because you sack him to the command zone.
Yep.
When you look into the top 25 decks, which happens to be 1.5 in tier 1, 0, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
The best decks. You also happen to have an unnaturally large amount of mana sinks.
Yep.
If you count the partner commanders and stuff, it's about like 15 out of 25.
Yep.
And if you count just literal mana sinks, it's still 36%, 9 out of 25. Well over, mathematically, a third of the top best commanders in the format happen to be infinite mana sinks.
We say that all to say, an infinite sink in the command zone is invaluable, to say the least.
It requires you to not have to rely a payout in your deck.
Right. You're not wasting a card slot on something to kill somebody with.
You're not having to rely on, let's just say for some reason, 5-color Dragons is running food chain with Prosh in the 99.
Right.
First off, that's not going to work, because Prosh isn't going to, whatever.
Yeah,
but just an example. He's a famous infinite combo in the command zone with the card.
Yep.
And that's so powerful. Your win con and or your combo is not taking up deck space. It's almost like what makes Companion so great.
Right.
is that you always have access to it, and that's powerful.
Always having a free card is just, it's worth more than anything.
So knowing all this, we're going to break down why Ambassador is a really good entry point going into some higher power decks, while also still being very good on his own. And I think that he can compete at the high power level.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we're going to treat him as a stepping stone to CEDH.
Yep.
So why don't you go ahead and lead us off with what his deck is actually doing in detail, Brandon?
Okay, so your game plan on Ambassador Loquacious is you want to generate infinite mana somehow. And then with that infinite mana, you're going to want to mill yourself out. Okay, so how are we getting it? Ambassador Loquacious, we gave him 2 different routes to get to his infinite. So the first is the ever-famous Dramatic Scepter combo, which, for those not aware, that is Dramatic Reversal and Isochron Scepter.
Also known as Iso Scepter.
Iso Scepter, yes. So just so we can read those cards out to you right quick, Dramatic Reversal is 1 and a blue, instant, untap all non-land permanents you control. And then Isochron Scepter is a 2-mana artifact with Imprint, and Imprint lets you exile a instant with 2 or less from your hand under Isochron Scepter. Then you can pay 2 mana to copy that spell.
2 or less instant.
2 or less instant.
Now that sounds restrictive, but what makes this combo so great is the interaction it has. How exactly is Isochron Scepter winning the game?
So you're going to need an artifact or a set of artifacts that produce 3 mana or more. Dramatic Reversal is going to let you infinitely untap that Isochron Scepter as long as you have 2, because you're untapping all non-land permanents. Isochron Scepter is one of those. Mm-hmm. So if you have 2 mana, you can infinitely cast a spell, but if you have 3 mana, you're netting a mana every single time. So this is relevant because you're getting Infinite Storm. If there's colored mana in that whole artifact package, you're going to be netting colored mana. So essentially, this is the quote-unquote CDH combo. Like, I think this is handily the most popular combo in CDH.
It is most likely up until I don't say Flash Hulk, honestly, up until Flash Hulk. And even then, this combo was still the cornerstone of a lot of those decks.
This was still present in the Flash Hulk decks.
I can't think of a deck that has blue in Commander that isn't running Isochron Scepter if it has a way to make it work.
It's just too easy.
And when some people think about Isochron Scepter, they think that the combo isn't working because you have to have mana rocks. And it's like, in most CDH decks, ironically, to actually win with a lot of these decks, outside of like Thrasios, who's colorless mana,
right?
You need colored mana.
Right, like you're going to need
other
those
than
rocks.
Gilded Lotus, there is no combination of cards it's making for less than 3 cards.
Yeah.
So why would that work? And when you think about it, it's pretty obvious. Artifacts run the format.
Oh, yeah.
The only way to slow down Commander to what I think most people consider casual, and ironically, the big breaking point between a lot of casualists, it's not the lands. I mean, of course, that is a factor. The biggest difference is the quality of low-costed mana rocks that are being cast to facilitate plays,
right,
and the density of those cards.
Right.
Ambassador being mono blue means he loses access to a lot of the ones that people are really familiar with, like the signets and the talismans.
Yep, you're not getting signets, no talismans.
But thankfully, he has the powerful fact that his mana sync ability is not tied to colored mana.
So this gives us a whole lot more flexibility in cards we get to play. Like, just for instance, you get a Basalt Monolith in this deck.
Basalt Monolith works for him. Yep. Basalt Monolith
great.
Is a 3-card. He gets to take advantage of those ones that a lot of these decks, like, what's the great one? Una?
Yeah.
Happens to be one. Najeela.
Yep, Najeela likes it.
Tassiger. You know what they all need? Colored mana for their sync ability.
Kenrith. Kenrith is the big one.
Kenrith is the poster child for needing... Kenrith and Najeela are both tier 0.
Yep.
They're two of those tier 0 commanders win off of this infinite colored mana. Which is actually, by all definitions, harder to make.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of, like, maybe some crazy Bloom Tender combo.
Yeah, some Bloom Tender. It's like green. You could get off Vizier Remedies and Devoted Druid, but...
Still doesn't work for those. Need all 5 colors.
Yep.
Or you're not winning with the green mana combo.
You're not doing it with that.
So what makes that so great is that we have a commander in the command zone that can win the game. And when you sit down at a table with most players, unless they know what you're going for, he sidesteps Mill's biggest issue. Decks can use their graveyards to kill you.
Yep. especially
decks
in
can
this
win off their
format.
graveyards. In this format, also, this is a format where the Eldrazi Titans randomly pop up all the time.
Yep.
Any deck that can cheat them out is probably playing them. Also, decks like Gitrog play the Eldrazi Titans because it's part of their combos.
Oh yeah, a lot of decks like this will play like, just a random Ulamog or Kozilek just to keep themselves from dying.
And the reason that's a big deal is if you activate this combo to mill someone out, the Titan's going to activate.
Yep.
So unless you have, an instant speed way to make them draw.
They exist in the deck, but Loquacious doesn't want to touch other people.
Exactly, because you're requiring multiple... That's an avenue we don't need to take. Why take that route?
Exactly.
We can be more efficient than that.
Exactly.
So also to go ahead and preface price, because some people are going to wonder why exactly this isn't exactly budget, because people think of budget, they think like the Commander's Quarters.
Exactly.
If you want to play truly optimized high power, it's going to cost some money.
Yeah, this isn't something you do for free. You're not going to build a deck like this for $50, $15.
We will provide a deck list that is cheaper than these. Just know that you will not be getting the same payout.
Right.
The issue is these decks do not have that budget issue of... When I think of budget decks or super, I think like Marilyn Mornsong can be built for like $60 to do her best impression of like an Ad Nos list.
Right.
That deck's not going to work 90% of the time.
Right. Edric, you can build Edric for $50, and it's going to pretend to be a real Edric, but you're not getting your extra turn spells.
What makes this Ambassador list so great is that for $500, he is consistently pulling off his plans.
Yes.
I'll admit part of that has to do with mono blue, but now we're going to go ahead and start talking about the deck list because you know what? Let's go ahead and rip apart how this deck is functioning outside of its combos.
Yes.
So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to his deck list is he's a very controlling deck.
Yeah, he has like a lot of pieces that some decks don't get access to.
Turns out there's a lot of really good counterspells that aren't Force of Will.
Exactly.
And he gets to play a lot of them.
Being mono blue, you get to more reliably have multiple blue pips in your deck. So, for example, you're going to be getting access to cards like Mystic Confluence more readily.
Narset's
Reversal, that double blue on Narset's Reversal. Mission Briefing for, flashing back your counters.
Missions Briefing, I love that card so much.
Yep.
What makes this so good is that, and this is the card that I think sets him apart, Back to Basics.
Oh my god, yeah.
He does not suffer from this card.
Nope, not one bit.
It's like, the only land he's losing is Inventor's Fair.
But he's probably not even going to tap that for mana.
I don't think he's using Inventor's Fair as a land.
Like, just for preface, the deck list will be in the description. This deck is 31 lands, 29 of which are basic islands. The other two are Inventor's Fair and Mystic Sanctuary.
And he just gets to be unfazed. And that is so powerful. The power of an early Back to Basics
It can turn a game off.
so many decks.
Anything with a greedy mana base, Kess,
Kenrith,
these 5-color decks that are so
Najeela,
prevalent right now.
First Sliver,
like
Thrasios Timna.
You're going to stop these decks. You might not kill their game plan because they have rocks. You're going to turn their game off for a while.
I'll tell you right now that a Najeela list will not appreciate a turn 2 or 3 Back to Basics.
Not at all. I've had multiple games where I literally just got a table conceit for a Back to Basics.
Or my favorite, color combinations that are more niche, that don't have blue in them.
Right.
Prosh does not handle Back to Basics.
Not one bit.
Like, you need... It's a removal attractant.
Yep.
People are going to use removal on it instead of your other cards.
Right.
And it's not going to hard lock a game. But this deck can take advantage of those 1 to 2 turns that it gives them.
At best, you're going to get 3 turns of just, I can't do anything from this card.
And like you said, people also can just scoop to this card.
Yeah, I have had multiple people just scoop to a Back to Basics.
My Sharoom list.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it.
If I didn't draw my basics, which, of course, you can fetch them out and stuff, but to be honest, like, there's been games where I open with some crazy combination of lands.
Right.
And suddenly I'm dead.
If you sequence this thing right when everybody's tapped out for something, you can just stop a game right there.
And you have the protection to make it resolve in the other cases there.
Exactly. This is a piece you want to protect.
So, when we think about that, and now when you think about it, that's just what all blue does.
Right.
All mono blue decks can play stuff like that. So now let's get into our win cons. How are we winning in this deck?
Okay, so we've already told you about how we're making the infinite mana. We're either going to be high-tiding into Palinchron, or we're going to be Iso-Sceptering. Now, as we said earlier, You don't necessarily want to target other people with Loquacious's effect, because that opens up too many ways to get countered. Your best option here is to target yourself with Loquacious. This way you're not going to be tightening yourself, because you, for a fact, do not have those. You get to set roughly exactly what number you want to mill down to. And then from there, we have Laboratory Maniac and Thassa's Oracle.
He is doing the best impression of Thassa's Oracle Demonic Consultation.
Yep.
That most decks could never dream of doing.
Exactly.
Because he is the self-mill. He is your consultation.
Exactly.
That is this deck's main strength. We are a demonic consultation list, with our consultation being an activated mana sink. Now, does that make it worse? Yes. Sadly, it does. But it's also a consultation that can never be permanently countered.
Exactly.
And that is beyond amazing, because whenever this consultation is finally going off, it has infinite mana backing it up.
If this thing has already hit the board and you've already got your infinite mana, it doesn't really matter what they try to do to Loquacious. I mean, they can stifle it, but you can just activate it again. I mean, this is just another one of those decks where it's like, Trick Bind is the only thing that's really going to do something here.
Honestly, if they trick bind you, what I like about this, and this is why it's fun to me if they're not playing Titans, you can also just mill them on their upkeep.
Yeah,
And hope that they just kill themselves.
Yep.
It's a panic button that forces the end. When this is going off, the game is over. The game is over by some matter of some term.
Most definitely.
Now, we're fully aware that somehow Oracle could still be stopped.
Oracle can always be stifled.
That's where Aetherflux Reservoir comes in.
Yes. So our secondary win condition is just straight up Aetherflux
One of the
Reservoir.
other poster childs of EDH.
I made a very specific point to mention that also the Palinchron loop makes Infinite Storm, because that's how we're going to back up this kill.
All of our infinite combos are storm combos.
Yeah, they generate Infinite Storm count.
Not on purpose, but they just happen to be.
Right.
Part of why they're staples in the format.
And, you know, behind that, just our panic button win cons. You know, we've got Blue Sun Zenith, we've got Pull from Tomorrow, we've got Stroke of Genius. And these are just like additional Loquacious effects, but they're going to draw instead. So with these, we're probably going to draw our entire deck to try to find the answer.
This also gives you an answer to the very relevant Narset Parter Avails.
Yep.
In case our draw effects are off, and for some reason Loquacious has been meddling maged or stolen, I don't know what effect is stopping it really going off. Curse Totem is a thing. You can still win. You're not doing anything with all this mana, but you're getting the life from the storm count.
Right. You're gaining so much life, and now you're going to point one of those draw spells at the other player. Because,
also, don't underestimate just randomly killing someone.
Oh, yeah.
The power of saying, I have an Aetherflux Reservoir, and I have 52 life, I'm fully aware you can swing to kill me, but if any of you go for a move, I'm going to kill you.
Yep. Whoever goes for it, you can just threaten with the Aetherflux.
And you have no mana to sink into it to make that happen.
Nope.
You can just kill someone. Or better yet, my favorite, this is something I love to do, this is me being a terrible person. You see these crazy stacks where all these counterspells are going to stop a card. They burn their whole hands, and then in response to all this and the card's about to resolve, like a Seedborn Muse,
Yeah.
I'm going to Aetherflux the Atla Palani player.
Yep. It's like, so now you've just burnt all your counters.
You just, like, mind twisted your opponents and did 50 damage to someone. It's amazing. It's so fun.
This is one of those cards that just shook up the game when this dropped in Kaladesh.
People say that it was Paradox Engine that truly messed up the format.
Right.
Let's be real. Paradox Engine was annoying and was powerful.
It was insane.
But have you met Dramatic Reversal in Aetherflux Reservoir?
Right. Like, Kaladesh just gave us so much.
Kaladesh did not hold back as a set.
No, I mean, it's not in this list, but I mean, even Walking Ballista.
Walking Ballista!
That's like another thing that just kills the table.
Now you're looking at Heliod.
Now we've got Heliod, but...
It's a wonderful deck, and I think that this deck is really good for the price that you pay for it, and a lot of these cards will lead into other decks.
Right.
So now we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
Where is this going? What is the purpose in this? If you wanted to take this for a step further, I have a deck for you that is my personal favorite. You just see the banner of our channel.
It is the banner mascot, yes.
It's the icon.
We have Una, Queen of the Fae. So, how do you make a blue deck better in Commander?
Well, simple. You shove every black tutor you can up its butt, and let it have fun with it.
There you go.
This deck, and let me go ahead and preface this. There are better decks than her.
Oh,
I love
most
her to
definitely.
death. We didn't move that much higher up in the tier list. Based on we moved up like maybe 2 tiers. I think she's competitive.
Yeah.
She's not in that top 25. But this is what I love about this, and for all those people that like milling people, Loquacious is targeting yourself.
Una has to target other people.
And she does it in a way that's not interactable, because here's the key. She's not mill.
Yep. Let's go ahead and just read Una right quick. We talked about her in the last episode.
We
but
did.
Just to go ahead and shoot through her right quick. She is 3 generic, and then hybrid Dimir, hybrid Dimir, hybrid Dimir. Legendary creature, fairy wizard. Hey, that's a relevant creature type.
2.
She is a 5/5 flyer with X and hybrid Dimir. Choose a color. Target opponent exiles the top X cards of their library. For each card of the chosen color exiled this way, put a 1/1 blue and black fairy rogue creature token with flying onto the battlefield.
That effect is one of the most powerful ways to shut someone down.
Yeah.
And I think we mentioned this in the last episode. She was threatened by the existence of Oracle being introduced
Yeah.
and Labman. But it's not by them. It was Flash.
It was Flash.
The fact that Flash Oracle, because Flash Lab Maniac was not like a thing,
Not really, no.
but Flash Oracle was definitely a thing.
It being an ETB trigger made a big difference.
And everyone's saying here, you're flashing out Hulk, but I'm aware that you're flashing out Hulk. The issue is, if they have Flash in their hand and they have Oracle in their hand for some reason,
And you've just exiled their entire library.
when they go before the draw, but they get the untap,
Yep.
they're just going to flash an Oracle on their upkeep and
Because
win the
then
game.
they just win. Why would you not just win?
With Flash being banned, Una has gotten infinitely more powerful.
Yeah. She's not as threatened by Thassa's Oracle anymore.
She's not threatened by it. They're dead to it, unless they're going to, like, plane or bridge it out.
Ley line of anticipation.
Yeah. Give it Flash,
Yeah, something like that. Unlikely.
which is substantially less likely compared to Flash.
Exactly. I highly doubt we're going to be playing Alchemist Refuges and Ley line of anticipations.
With this Una list, we are adding some very important cards.
Yeah.
First off is the tutors.
Yeah. Just get the elephant out of the room right now. The tutors are the best thing in this deck.
They are the trademark to what makes her so good. Dimir is such a powerful combination for tutors, and to have an infinite mana sink in it,
Right.
that is essentially uncounterable in what her effect does.
Right. Just taking budget into account, we don't have all of the tutors, obviously. But Black gave us some very good includes. Like, just quick examples. We got Shred Memory, the Black counterpart to Model a Mixture.
Which I will say will most likely be replaced by Grim Tutor.
Grim Tutor in a couple of weeks.
But for this budget, also Shred Memory is just amazing. It's one of the few transmute cards like Muddle the Mixture that just happens to have a good effect.
Its actual spell effect is also relevant.
Turns out a Marin deck can lose to a Muddle, or not Muddle the Mixture, Shred Memory.
Shred Memory, yeah.
Sorry, they're both transmute. They're both amazing. They both find me ways to kill you. It's hard to remember which one is which, and they both stop things.
Right.
But Shred Memory has a really cool targeted graveyard effect, and we love that.
What do we have next? The best tutor in
Tutor.
Magic the Gathering, Demonic Tutor.
Simple, clean, efficient,
Go get
not
a,
backbreaking in price, not cheap.
not cheap, but
But
not,
once you buy one,
you'll always have it.
you always
and
have
you'll
one.
probably use it in everything.
and that's another one of the keys to these decks. When you buy these cards, unless Isochron gets banned, or they make an Isochron that has a 1 mana activation cost or something.
Unbanned Panoptic Mirror.
Yeah, actually, yeah. That's just awful.
Yeah. That sounds terrible. Don't do that.
Please no. Free Iona, though.
Free Iona and Primeval Titan.
I can at least say Iona did nothing wrong. Anyway. We
And
free my girl.
Free her. And then after Demonic Tutor, we've also picked up Dark Petition, which is the 5 mana Demonic Tutor that has Spell Mastery, which gives you a Dark Ritual.
You pay more mana for it, but in the end, it is Demonic Tutor.
You know what you're always going to have active in this deck?
Spell Mastering.
Spell Mastery. It's really easy to get instants and sorceries in your yard.
To go ahead and just give you a rundown of this list, we're running 32 lands.
Yep.
We're running 47 instants and sorceries.
Whew.
But on top of the tutors
Yeah.
and the spell density, let's talk more about that spell density. Una gets another thing that Ambassador could never dream of. She can kill just about anything.
Yeah, Una has some of that good CEDH removal that we just didn't get access to in Mono Blue.
Toxic Deluge.
Toxic Deluge.
A card that's grown on me so much. Drown in the Lock.
Drown in the Lock is the new tech from Eldraine. It has that same issue, or not issue, it has that same plus of Spell Mastery, where it's like, you've always got cards in the yard. You're going to have a lot of them there.
And I know it's based on your opponent's graveyards, but this is CDH you're playing if you're bringing a deck like this. Or you're playing at the highest end of high power and the lower end of CDH. There will be fetch lands. There will be cards that will be killed. There will be cantrips that will be cast.
Right. Like
this is essentially a counterspell that also kills something, and it's just amazing.
And it's good on rate because it's just a single blue and a single black.
Literally counterspell mana.
Yep, counterspell mana.
Now, there's one more thing that she gets that I think we need to discuss, and it's the quality of her mana rocks.
Yeah, we got a whole lot better once we got a color.
Ironically, she has the worst issue with her effect, where she has colored mana requirements. Mm-hmm. But because she is 2-color, she gains access to talismans
and signets.
She actually can profitably run any of these like rainbow things for her, essentially.
Yep.
And it's just amazing. And also her mana base.
She just gets so much better when she gets more lands.
Like, technically her mana base is less efficient than strict islands and mono.
Technically, yes.
But it's a really cheap mana base as far as... It's 2 colors.
I mean, it's like we have a lot of rainbow lands in this list.
A lot of rainbow lands. Confluence, City of Brass, Command Tower, Spire of Industry.
Yep, we've got all of our duels here. I mean, all of our affordable duels, obviously.
Pretty much everything except for the OG.
Yep, pretty much everything except for Underground Sea.
It's just... She's such a powerful deck.
She's really good.
And it does not cost much money to take Ambassador to her.
No. Ideally about $250.
Just about. And that sounds crazy to think about, but honestly, a lot of these tutors, combining them all together, that's about what you're paying.
Honestly, yeah.
Like, I mean, if we just look at the way these cost, Dark Petition's less than $5, I'm pretty sure, currently.
Yep.
Demonic Tutor's less than 50, which, I mean, again, it's not cheap.
It's not cheap, but it's one of those one-time investments.
It's one of those, you can either buy a whole bunch of commons for a standard deck you'll play for a week, or a Demonic Tutor that you'll never get rid of.
Right.
And I don't think that can be beaten.
No, you just don't get better than that.
Also the lands. When you start collecting lands, you have access to more lands. Once you have a bunch of Dimir lands, that means you can play more things that have Dimir in it.
Exactly. I mean, all these rainbow lands that you're buying, like, these are going in everything. Like, everything that's more than one color, you're playing these rainbows.
City of Brass, Mana Confluence.
Right. I mean, Exotic Orchard, some decks pick it up.
If it's not 1 mana.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not a single color deck, you're probably playing it.
Yeah. There's no reason not to.
She's a good deck. And I think one more thing we need to talk about that she has access to, and I think this is something that's really slept on, access to some different forms of control that only Dimir have access to.
Right.
Or decks that happen to have Dimir in their cost. The biggest one to me is Shadow of Doubt and Ashiok Dreamrender.
Yep. Telling players they can't search their libraries anymore is a very back-breaking effect in this format.
If you told Una she couldn't tutor, she is probably panicking.
You lose, because half of the reason black is so good in this format is its ability to say, I want this out of my deck.
I would argue it is 90% of why black is so strong in this format.
Right.
Because what are the 2 strongest things in Magic? Draw and killing someone.
Yep.
And tutors are just the more advanced version of drawing.
Right.
Demonic Tutor is better than pretty much, or arguably every single 2-mana draw spell in the game.
Right.
Unless there is a 2-mana draw spell that just happens to win the game that I'm not aware of.
I mean, Ashiok's Planeswalker ability is also just great because she also exiles graveyards.
All graveyards.
All graveyards.
And that is key. I need to enunciate all graveyards. I love graveyards. I'm a graveyard junkie. We talked about this in the last video. Dredge is where I'm at most home. There's decks that die to this effect.
Oh yeah.
There's also Commander format favorites like Marin. God bless her soul, she's still around.
Somehow.
She dies to an Ashiok.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
My beloved Sidisi. First off, she's probably not tutoring up her pieces against an Ashiok until she kills it.
Probably not.
And if somehow she doesn't manage to kill everyone the turn, or like let's say she misfires the once in a lifetime with her Hermit Druid, she just dies to that Ashiok resolving.
Oh, yeah.
And that is backbreaking. And I think that's... Maybe it's just me, because I play pretty much every deck I play interacts with the graveyard. I think every deck I play in some form. And I don't mean like...
Oh, yeah.
Every deck should interact with it in some form. No, I mean...
This format as a whole.
Yeah,
it's so
amazing.
graveyard-centric.
It's amazing.
It's an extension of your hand in this
Everything
format.
from my Gruul decks to my Sultai list.
Yep.
And they don't appreciate it. It's... Ashiok is a card.
I mean, and it's a small thing, too.
The unsung hero.
We get Notion Thief in this deck.
Notion, Thief, and Win fall for the game.
This deck has a lot of wheels. This format has a lot of wheels. Nothing feels worse for somebody than having a Notion Thief flashed in on your Wheel of Fortune.
I know Jeskai might be the new fun thing for wheels, but our decks where wheels are at, it's Dimir. Dimir's where the wheels are.
Blue and black has some of the best quality.
Grixis would be the best one.
Grixis has the best, but
Not
like...
Jeskai. Grixis.
Yeah. Blue-black has some really good stuff in it.
Blue-black has good ones. Blue probably has the best next to red.
Blue...
Tied for red.
Yeah, I mean, because you're looking at time spirals, you're looking at time twisters, like...
Time spiral. Yes.
Yes.
Not in the deck list.
No, not unfortunately. It's not Grade Path, though.
It's... If you want to take it there.
Hey, it's a great card.
It's... Notion of Thief, when he is flashed in, is devastating.
Oh, yeah.
And not even just when someone wheels. It is so fun to, like, flash in your Notion Thief in response to, like, a Blue Sun Zenith.
Yeah. Maybe not even infinite, just like a Blue Sun Zenith for, like, 20, 30.
Oh, no, the best is infinite.
Yeah, I mean, the best is
I have
obviously
seen
gonna be
so
infinite.
many games where someone has cast a Blue Sun Zenith, like, 2 cards in their hand. They're so sure they've won. They got their infinite mana comp. What could possibly stop them?
Like, you left my lab man on board. I'm going to flash in Notion Thief and draw all my cards.
Yeah, like... Cool. And it's really funny when you find those players that don't declare, like, a crazy number for their own Blue Sun. Like, they declare exactly 76.
Right.
Cool, I have 78 left in my library. Like, party. It's just fun. And I implore anyone that wants to give high-power EDH a try. Ambassador lets you play with such a fun playstyle.
Yep.
Also, speaking of Windfall, if for some reason you are unable to Oracle yourself or Aetherflux, you get the chance to finally mill your opponents out. And if there's no Eldrazi Titans there, cast that Windfall for game.
Yes, please cast that Windfall.
Probably dead. They are probably dead. I say probably because, for all you know, little Timmy is playing an Ulamog or like a Kozilek
Oh, there's always one
in
of them.
his Rurik Thar combo.
There's
deck.
always one of them at a Commander tournament.
I can factually say I think I've always faced a Titan somewhere.
Somebody's got a Titan put in for some reason.
Nothing is funnier than casting Una's effect and they think that they can't die.
Right.
And it's like, no, your Ulamog is gone. He is gone. He is dead. And that single-handedly is what really puts her where she is.
Yeah, she's obviously not the best, but she is very good.
I will argue she is the best Dimir commander, without a doubt.
One last big thing about this deck, though. We're still getting our infinite mana off of the Isochron Scepter and the Dramatic Reversal, but we get one more combo in this deck now that we have black.
Oh, we've already discussed it. Demonic Consultation.
We're getting Consultation Oracle in this deck.
She gets the actual Oracle.
Yep.
Consultation loop.
Yep. Demonic Consultation is just... It's the best thing right now.
And if, everything hits the fan, we can still Blue Sun ourselves.
That too. Yeah, we still got all those lines too.
She just gets to avoid having density for her infinite mana.
Right.
Because she's going to find it a lot faster and she's going to answer it a lot quicker.
I would almost argue that Consultation should be main plan in this deck. Because it's the most efficient thing we have access to. We have 4 mana and then the game is over with. Demonic Consultation being a black mana instant. Name a card, exile the top 6 cards of your library, then reveal cards from the top until you reveal the named card. Put that card into your hand, exile all other cards revealed this way. So, ideally we're holding up our Oracle in hand already, and we're just naming something that's not there. My personal favorite is Borborygmos. Why? I don't know. But hey, it's very, very good.
It's a wonderful deck. It's a wonderful strategy. And I think if you want to experience a stronger level of Commander without having to break your bank, I think the stepping stones that could get you to Ambassador give you an amazing foundation. And I think you could pretty easily assemble Ambassador in like a 2 or 3 month period if you're on a tighter budget.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a good chance that even if you play more casual Commander, you've probably found like a Mystical Tutor and stuff.
There's a good chance you own a lot of these cards. I mean, the backbone of Blue is your Brainstorms, your Ponders, your Preordains. I mean, who doesn't have these cards?
Counter spells like Narset's Reversal was a standard staple.
Yeah, it's like everybody has so many of these.
Missions Briefing. These are all cards that are so great that you probably just have.
Yeah, you probably have playsets of some of these.
High Tide's not expensive.
Nope, High Tide's less than $1.
You'll probably have to buy Palancron.
Palancron's not cheap, but he's good. He's worth it.
The chances of you being able to assemble this list are a lot higher than you think.
Right.
And if you've ever played Black in Commander, you're probably getting the same way with Una.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's not much reserve list on this deck either, honestly.
No.
Like, we've got Palancron over in Loquacious. I don't think we're playing anything reserved over in Una. So, this is a deck that, even with the expensive cards, none of this should be hard to find.
Not at all. Not as far as I'm concerned, it really shouldn't be that difficult. But it'll take a little time, but I think it's worth your investment every step of the way.
Most definitely.
And that's not just my bias for Una being probably my absolute favorite Commander deck to play for fun's sake.
Most definitely.
But on that note, I think this is a good place to leave off.
This is a good place to close out for today.
We're going to provide the deck list for these decks in the description below.
Yes.
These are the actual lists that have been played in paper.
Yes.
Especially the Una list, because it is, again, I love the deck.
Yep.
And I hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for checking us out.
All right. Thanks, guys.